Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Collins-Pisano, and I am a strikingly handsome, incredibly slender young man with one of the most well-manicured beards that you'll probably ever see.
Yes, and I am Jenny Lee Stern. I'm a petite Jewish mother of three, lesbian icon, and we are here for your pleasure.
We are currently in Forbidden Broadway. Merrily, we stole a song.
We stole it.
We stole it away, and we're not giving it back until the end of the year. We're going to be skewering a ton of stuff that's been on Broadway recently and currently. Shows like the recent Sweeney Todd, Cabaret, Hell's Kitchen, and many other things. Great Gatsby, and of course the very well-known recent revival that we're basing the title on, Merrily. Okay. Also, just before we start, I'd like to say that as an avid dairy consumer and a huge fan of ice cream, it is just so special to be getting to talk to the Dairy Federation and just to connect our arts with that kind of a world. I didn't think this kind of a thing. What's up?
It's the Theater Development Fund, TDF, Theater Development Fund.
It's not the Dairy Federation?
No, honey, no. Not that I would know. I'm a cashew milk girl myself, but 99.999% theater.
I'm not going to present any of the props that I brought in.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't do that.
Just let me.
No, he's got to think about it now. Did you have your dainty June cow costume?
I brought like a whole milkman outfit, my Mr. Bundles from Anything, and I was gonna just bring up all these different grades.
All right, let's well, hi TDF, now we know.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Forbidden Broadway was created by the man, the myth, and the legend, Gerard Alessandrini, and it has been going on off Broadway since 1982. So here's my question for you, Jenny Lee Stern. When did you first discover it? And did you immediately want to be a part of it?
All right. A lot of people don't know this story.
Okay.
I actually auditioned for Forbidden Broadway for the first time when I was 19 years old. And I auditioned in the basement of Ellen's Stardust Diner.
Okay, yep.
And I had no idea what I was going in for. First of all, to walk into the basement of a restaurant was like every red flag that every acting teacher told me. But I did it. And I remember exactly what I was wearing. I had like a black shirt on with a white collar and a black skirt. And I went in and I sang Little Me. Do you know the song?
Yeah, I do.
And then they asked me to do impressions, which I don't know if it was a miscommunication with my agent, because I had no idea what they were talking about. And I didn't do impressions. My dad will go back and say, that's not true. And I've been imitating everyone since I could talk.
Right.
But and I was like what? And I think it was Bernadette Peters was in Annie Get Your Gun.
Okay.
So they're like, do you know Bernadette Peters? And all that I knew of Bernadette Peters really at that time was Lily St. Regis from Annie the movie.
Of course.
And the movie The Jerk.
Oh yeah, come on. She's unbelievable.
And so I did like a little Lily St. Regis, and then I did, do you know The Jerk? Well,
oh yeah, I love The Jerk.
So like her line of The Jerk, she's like, Nathan, she goes, have you seen a little boy with a t-shirt that says bullshit on it? Yeah. And like, that's all I did.
Well, there you go.
And didn't get it.
Oh my God.
Because I didn't do my first, but.
Right,
So that was my introduction to it. Yeah. And then I sort of started knowing it. And then I went and saw the girl who did get cast, and it was Heather Ayers. Okay. And she was the sister of one of my best friends.
Oh my God, okay.
Beck Ayers. So it's sort of, we kept it in the family.
Yes, seriously.
So that's how and Gerard did tell me later on, like, almost 10 years later, like, I guess at that time they had a scoring system.
Oh.
I was like 1 to 10, and I got like 9.5.
Wow.
So it was close. It was close, but no cigar.
Simone Biles of Forbidden Broadway auditions.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
Timing is everything.
I mean, like, I don't think I found out about Forbidden Broadway until I was in like college for musical theater. People started talking to me about it, and like then Mia Gentile, who used to be a part of Forbidden Broadway, she and I went to the same school, not at the same time, but people would talk to us about her and be like, Mia Gentile, she's been doing Forbidden Broadway. So that kind of kept it in my brain. And then like, years later, once I graduated, they did a production at Gateway Playhouse, like summer of 2019.
Like a best, greatest hits or whatever.
Greatest hits. And I had done a show the year before at Gateway Playhouse, and then that casting director for that theater brought me in for this. And luckily, because of that, I was able to get cast in a very timely manner into this summer stock production that took place right before he started writing, or as he was writing Next Generation, where we met. So it was like I went right from doing these greatest hits things, and then I got a call from Gerard while I was in like Vermont doing a different play, and he asked me to come in, and then like 5 years later,
Here we are.
Here we are.
Wow.
But yeah. Oh, okay. How about this one?
Yes.
Both of us performed in an earlier iteration of Forbidden Broadway last year. Oh, okay. Okay, last year. How has the show evolved?
Yes. So, well, we met doing Next Generation, which was Evan Hansen, Moulin Rouge.
Oh, yeah. All that stuff that
Judy
was running
Garland,
right
the
before
movie.
COVID.
Right before COVID. Remember before COVID?
Yeah, if you can remember a Broadway show from before COVID.
Remember the
that's
before
what we were
times?
parodying.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, everything's changed since then.
Yeah, 100%.
But what we did last year was more of like a stripped down version, a cabaret, kind of back to the roots of it all.
Seriously.
But it was a special edition Forbidden Sondheim.
Yes.
So we are using some of the original pieces from Forbidden Sondheim.
Yeah.
But of course, we're not doing all of Sondheim.
No,
But
it's
it
like,
is Merrily We Stole a Song.
Exactly. We're keeping like a lot of the current Sondheim stuff. And then if you were able to catch it, or you heard about it, we were just able to take a lot of like old numbers from Forbidden Broadway that have talked about Sondheim, because, you know, Gerard and Stephen Sondheim used to have kind of a personal correspondence. And when we first started doing it, it was more about kind of sharing the story of how Forbidden Broadway and Stephen Sondheim kind of followed this
Sort
parallel
of their
path.
love story
Exactly.
together.
And Forbidden Broadway, like from the very beginning, Forbidden Broadway opened originally off Broadway the same time that Merrily We Roll Along's original production opened. And when that production closed way too soon and was such like, you know, a big tragedy or whatever and flop, you know,
We made a big deal.
Forbidden Broadway, like that original poster, Forbidden Broadway, is a straight parody of the Merrily We Roll Along poster.
Yeah.
So it's always been very intertwined, and it was nice to really let that out and let everybody know and like share the stuff that Sondheim has said to Gerard throughout the years.
And Gerard's a big fan, but also was a great friend.
Yeah.
So there's sort of like an even more endearing through line through it. So there is a Sondheim through line.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there
For
is actually,
sure.
which you got to come see it to find out. We can't tell you about it.
You get a lot of Sondheim, but you get a lot of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Well, maybe that's another
Yeah,
question.
maybe that's
What's your favorite?
Oh, okay. Who was the first Broadway star you ever impersonated, and do you play that performer in the show? Huh. That's you know, I think the first Broadway person that I probably impersonated was probably either Norbert Leo Butz or Brian Darcy James, because I like got obsessed with shows they were doing, and then because I was trying to learn how to sing.
Yes. Wait. Okay. So this is well, I'm not saying it's a problem. It's a skill.
Yeah.
But sometimes it becomes.
It starts as a problem, and then it like becomes a skill.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, right.
But like same, because I'm just a natural mimic.
Exactly. Me too.
Like my ear just goes to it. It's
Yeah.
actually very hard for me to like
sing in your own
sing
voice
in my
sometimes.
own voice
Totally.
if I learn it
feel
from a
you.
recording.
Yes, exactly.
It's very funny because I have 3 daughters. They're 15, 13, and 6, and they do the same thing. Like they do it when they listen to my music in the car,
Right,
like
yeah.
for the show,
Yeah.
or like even just like, you know, Olivia Rodrigo, literally my 6-year-old's in the car, she's like, vampire. And it's funny. But I would say sort of same.
Yeah.
I think I was imitating Patti LuPone from the Anything Goes revival.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because it was Casas Reno Sweeney in 10th grade. And basically it was just a 15-year-old Patti
Like Patti LuPone?
LuPone.
100%.
And no one stopped me because who's going to stop that?
Yeah, I mean, who's going to stop you anyway?
And yes, so I do Patti. I do.
Yeah, you do Patti.
I do Patti. And then I told you about the Bernadette Peters thing, and I do Bernadette too.
Has Norbert Leo Butz even appeared in a Forbidden Broadway?
Je ne sais pas.
You know what I mean?
What about Mandy?
Oh, Mandy, definitely. I mean, my dad is a huge Stephen Sondheim fan, and he's kind of the way that I got into musical theater in the first place. And when I was a young child, and I always tell him, I'm like, you're so lucky I have two sisters. I'm like, you're so lucky that you have one child that will listen to this stuff with you. Because I would just go everywhere in the car with him, and we just put in these original cast recordings, and it's the same thing. You would listen to Mandy and Sunday in the
And
park,
then you just know how
and you're
to
just
sing.
you just do the same thing because then you're just like, oh, you know, and like Norbert, you're like, and then you get to college and you're talking with people who have listened to the last 5 years, and you're like, what's her name? What's the girl's name in last 5 years? Kathy. And you're just like, Kathy, the party. Where are you going,
Yeah.
Kathy? You know, and it's just like, it's just
And then
become
it's,
like a
I
thing.
think it's sometimes like until someone says, "Oh my God, you sound exactly like him."
Yes.
You're like, I do.
Yes, that's what I got to
And
college. And I was
then-
like, you sound like Norbert Leo Butts, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is that natural, or
Is
am
that
I
normal?
am I
Is
not
that
able to let
good?
go
Is
of
that-
this? Exactly.
Whatever.
Have you
Oh my
ever, this is probably a good one for you. I feel like you probably have a good answer to this. Have you ever impersonated someone in front of that person? And what
And what
was that reaction?
have you?
You know, I don't think anybody that I've impersonated in one of our shows has been there. I think the closest was when we did Forbidden Sondheim and I did Daniel Radcliffe. And there was that guy, Jim Norton, came to see the show.
Oh,
Amazing,
yeah.
unbelievable, legendary character
Okay,
actor.
that's cool.
And he was like, you know, it's very interesting that it was very nice to see you, Daniel. We're close friends with Daniel, and we need to tell him about this, and he really should come see it. And then you're like, oh my God. And then at the next second, you're like, wait, maybe not. Maybe just tell him.
Just tell him it was great.
Just tell him, yeah, exactly. But so I think only in that like ancillary way.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely sung Sondheim in front of Sondheim. So like we did an Into the Woods number, and over at the theater on 47th Street,
Yeah.
where we did Alive and Kicking, the like house seat, the star seat,
Yeah.
whatever, was in the same spot. So it was like towards the left, 3 or 4 rows in. So you always knew someone was going to be there.
Okay.
So
nice.
once Sondheim was there, so we did like Into the Woods, and
Yeah.
he was there. So that was kind of
That's
trippy.
unbelievable.
And then I was doing an Annie. I was doing an Annie number,
Yeah.
and I was also doing a Bernadette number. And Carol Burnett was in the scene. And like all I was thinking about, I was like, I'm doing Easy Street, like
Yeah.
in my head
Yeah.
with her, and that was iconic. So there's been those. I mean, we've had so many.
Yeah, I
celebrities
mean, well,
come
that's
to
the
show.
thing. You
But
never
I
know who's
think,
going to
like,
show up.
Sort of, you know, like an inside baseball one. Obviously, she's like a huge star and
Yeah.
a brilliant actress, Mary
Yeah.
Testa. But she, you know, it's not like Sondheim or
no, but
Corinne.
like to us.
So like,
it's huge.
so it's like she's a star
Yeah.
to me, but like also a peer, and
Right,
right?
yeah,
Because
exactly.
she's just like a gal in the business.
Yeah,
She's like
exactly.
so down to earth, so cool and talented. And we did that Oklahoma
I remember.
number, and I was Aunt Eller, and it was like.
Hysterical.
It was
That's
funny,
amazing.
but if it was me, I don't know if I would think it was.
Oh yeah.
And we were at the Triad,
Yeah.
and the tables are like
Right there.
that close.
Like you're leaning over and sweating on someone's
and
check as they're paying.
I
it.
looked over and I saw her, and I'm in this giant, insane wig in my hair, and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like,
Just
it
doing
was-
this surly impression.
and so I think after the show, she was like, "Oh, okay, nice to meet you." And then I just did a concert. I just did the Rink in concert.
yeah.
At 54 Below, and she was there
Did she
because you know
come?
she was Liza's original standby
Are you
in the
serious?
Rink, and so she was there, and the room was filling up at
Yeah.
sound check.
Yeah.
And I went over and I was like, I don't know if you remember me.
Mhm.
Like, you know, we've met before. My name is Jenny Lee. And she's like, yeah, you look familiar. And I was like, yeah, I did you in Forbidden Broadway. And she goes, okay.
Oh no!
Like, right? So I don't know how that meant. I mean, I think everyone's kind of flattered.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like it says so much about you and your career if you're being parodied in Forbidden
Oh,
Broadway.
for sure. I remember.
It's like it's such an honor to do it. I mean, and then like, you know, you talk about Liza. I remember when we were doing Next Generation, I looked out one day because it was so dim in the audience. Because like I remember when Angela Weber came and I was like,
Oh my God.
"There's no way." And then there's one day I looked out and I was like, "Oh my God, is Liza Minnelli seeing the show?" And I went backstage. And I was like, "Everybody, Liza Minnelli, she's here. I don't even know her." And then this show, and they were like, "This is Joan Collins," and I was just like,
Sir.
because I was like, the lights are dim. They're both, you know,
Oh my God.
they look
that's so
not
funny.
that different now. And so I got and then you're like, oh my God, I'm swapping legends. Now it's like, I'm just talking, you know, we're taking
Yeah.
a picture with another legend. Norman Lear showed up. It's like, you never know
Who's
what
like,
person you
right.
respect and admire is
Right, right,
just
right.
going to be
So
stopping
fun.
in, you know, this stuff's been going on for a long time. How do you
good one.
capture the stars you channel? Do you start with the voice, the physicality, what's your technique? I mean, I kind of start from like a bare bones. We live in an unbelievable time with YouTube and all those people that take bootlegs of stuff. I mean,
slime tutorials.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all I try to do is you listen to the recording of the person to try and get their voice down in some way. And then as far as physical stuff, it's like I try to choose like three physical things they do and 3 vocal things they do. And you start there, you look through your lyrics and you see where you can punch it. And then it's just about letting it grow, and then you can find even more stuff. So that's how I start.
Yes. I think I start with my natural ear, right? And you probably do too.
Yeah.
And then the same. Then I do go to the thing. So I'll go and watch specifically drag queens.
Yeah, that's
lip syncing to divas. Now for you, it's a little different because you're not playing a lot of women. I understand
what you mean though.
And see what sticks out. So if I watch 3 different drag queens do Bernadette Peters,
right.
Like what is the common 3 things that they pull out? Because here's the trick to the theater. Whether it's actually what Bernadette does or not, it's what we remember her doing. And that's what the people are looking for, right?
Yeah.
So I do that. So the art of drag, and what we do is so
hand in hand.
Similar, they're cousins, right? Yeah. And then I was taught by a brilliant actor turned businessman. His name is Craig Laurie. He's a Forbidden Broadway alum.
Legend, yep.
And he coached me a lot, in going into my second Forbidden Broadway audition. But one of the things that I learned from him, but I also learned from a voice teacher when I was trying to start singing more legit, because I'm just like a Annie kid, is put the thing on mute and watch the shape of their mouths. And my mom is a speech therapist.
Oh my God.
So that's what she does,
right?
My God. So if I'm saying oh, but then I move my face if you watch where her tongue is specifically or where her cheekbones are, as opposed to oh or oh or oh. So I take the sound out and then I watch the mouth. Right.
And then it's all
and then you pick up on the movements.
Yeah.
But that's also hard. You're again, those are so exaggerated. When you do go back and you watch Liza, you're maybe she did this
really
5 times or something.
But you're just
but it's what we're doing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, one of the most wonderful things about this is that there's always a tug of war going on of who this person really is, your take on them, and then what we're actually doing with them in the show. And you bring in what you got for Gerard, you throw all this spaghetti at the wall, and then he'll let you know, and you figure out, well, it's really about this person in this situation. So you really it gets so minute, but it's such.
And then I've also learned I've done Patsy Cline all over the country.
Yes, you have.
12 different times, which is obviously not Forbidden Broadway,
but it's
still you're impersonating a real person.
Yeah.
And that's also it's really interesting. If it's a merman sound versus what's a modern day belter, Sutton Foster or something.
Yeah.
There is a quality to the recording.
Yeah.
Right? So whether it's Merman or Patsy Cline, chances are nobody in the audience has actually seen them perform live.
Right. Yeah,
so you almost have to impersonate the recording quality of of the day, which is another which is a very nuanced thing for
the
people,
layers of style here, you guys.
Myself,
it's just
we can go there. Not everybody.
Yeah, we'll go deep. We'll really spend some time in the woodshed. We're not afraid.
Yeah. Who else the Prousts?
Okay.
Which show or performer is too sacred for you to spoof?
I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty bad about that kind of stuff. I don't really always feel, because I'm also I don't know most, if any, of these people. I feel like I am a peer because I'm in the industry, but I'm not. I don't run into these people a lot. So for me, I don't really think of anybody. Also because it's I don't know, tell me what you think of this, but it's if there's nothing too sacred for Forbidden Broadway, because if we're parodying it, it's almost proof of how sacred it already is in some ways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I have one.
I
maybe someone that just passed away. Maybe
Okay.
like that kind of thing. It's like, okay, we'll take some time. Let's not make fun of this person. Let's not do that for a second. Let's let everybody kind of like talk about it and deal with it. And then
I mean, like, I hold Judy very secret.
yeah, that's
Okay. So even when I am doing her in Forbidden Broadway, I really try to keep it as true and real and just let her be her. And also let Gerard's words be the joke too.
Yeah.
Like so she's someone for me that I don't like to go crazy over the top because I think it actually is more effective if you just don't.
Yeah.
But I think, like, I guess it would be, there is a thing if it's like a friend.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like a show that a friend was in that was saying literally like the lyric, like, it sucks. Or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
I mean, it's a little hairy.
Yeah.
But it's,
I think, I mean, like Sondheim, like, right? We did a whole show about Sondheim.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like, I think we kept him very sacred.
We did.
While celebrating, because what we're doing, this is a love letter.
It's a love fest.
Like, if you're in Forbidden Broadway, it's because we love you so much that we're like, there's really, I mean, half of these shows, there's actually like nothing wrong with them.
No. It's about, because it's just about celebrating. It's what Jenny said. It's a celebration. And like, if something seems too sacred, then maybe there's something about the impression that needs work. Maybe it's because I'm being negative. I'm trying to point something out that's negative about this person instead of letting Gerard's words be, like Jenny said, the joke. And then you keep, like, when I do Mandy, I mean, like, we all have, there's stories about everybody and all this stuff. And it's like, it's like, even if it's somewhere overindulgent or like that whole kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
and
not about.
It's like, we're a vessel, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, there's like a fine line, especially when it comes to like physicality.
Yeah. And they're so good. These people are so good and they're so iconic that it's like, that's the part of it. It's like, can you believe how unbelievable these
And you
people
hope
are?
they're flattered and you hope that they can laugh at themselves, but also we are a fragile breed.
We are.
Okay? We're in this business because we're damaged and we always will be. And like, so that's the only thing I get nervous. Like, oh my God, is like Jeremy Jordan actually like, he like really 100%. Busted up that he can't dance? Right. And now we're just like hoisting the knife or something.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Then you're like, wait, does he think he can dance?
Right, exactly. And then it's like, or is he going to show up and be like, oh my God, I can't believe
dance.
I can, you're right. I'm having
know.
so much trouble. You never know.
Again, it's a love letter. Yeah. So nobody's too sacred, maybe except like,
except like
recently.
Except somebody, exactly. We don't kick people while they're down. Okay.
Show us your best non-theater impersonation.
Okay, I actually had to think a lot about this because I think one of I got scared of this question because most of my non-theater impressions are impressions of other people's impressions, like from SNL or whatever. But I will say, and this might just be very humiliating and embarrassing for me. I'm a huge nerd, and when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm still obsessed with the Lord of the Rings movies. So I spent a lot of my time trying to do Ian McKellen. And in the middle of those movies, do you remember the movie The Golden Compass that came out? He was not in it. He just voiced a huge polar bear. But in every trailer, he would say, like, this polar bear would saunter out and say, I will join you in your campaign. And I would just always go, I will join you in your campaign. And then in the movie, it's just like, he's like, he's like flame. And it's like, flame of Uru. And it's like, you shall not pause. It's just like, it's terrible. But it's when you sit around with your friends all doing the whole time. It's better that I'm not doing my Gollum impression right now.
No, do it.
Oh, I don't even know if I could. It's all that shit. It's terrifying. It's the stuff you do to like your grandmother, and she's like, "You're so lovely."
Yeah, like I said, like I'll say like, "Oh, I'm not an impersonator," or like I don't do impressions, and then they're like, "Wait."
Yeah, they're like, "What about this?" You're like, "Oh, I can do that person's voice."
I was like, "Oh no," but I can like talk like
from me to you, Pinky.
Right? Coming through. Come on, lady with a baby. Like basically all of Greece, I could do all in the. We could probably do.
Brush up.
brush up.
Yeah.
We could probably do like a full episode of Friends without stopping.
Oh,
The voices,
oh,
right?
100%.
I just said to someone on the phone last night, like, remember the scene where they're running, Phoebe and Rachel, and she's like, and he was like, why do you care? And she's like, because they're people
Yeah.
with eyes.
I know,
Or
ready?
whatever.
Like David Schwimmer, Joey Tribbiani,
Right.
or like you do this, like scare Joey, and then Chandler's all like, could I be? You know, it's like it's that same
Yeah.
like I was in a Friends parody musical and I was just like 3 things for David, 3 things for Joey,
Right.
3 things for Chandler.
But one of my biggest party tricks when I was probably like 9 years old. Do you guys remember the show Alf? I'm dating myself. I know. I
You
don't
better
look
remember.
at dead. I mean, you're like she auditioned for
I'm a
Forbidden
millennial.
Broadway when she was 19.
I'm a millennial. I know this. You guys should know
So
this too.
Alf, Google it, and I'll give you a little Alf. Hey, Willie, I hurt my knee. Ha! If you don't know Alf, that was spot on.
Oh my God, yeah.
How you doing? Or like,
Oh my God.
like Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
I just like Joe Bet, right? Like, I'm the one who put the bitches in this joint. That's who
Oh
I am.
yeah, like I grew up watching like Robin Williams as the genie. It's like it's like when you go back to the first like comedic people you watched. It's like doing a little therapy with yourself. You're like, oh yeah, like Nathan Lane and Billy Crystal, like hello, like Billy Crystal, Nathan Lane, Robin Williams. I bring them up and I'm like, it explains
A lot.
almost too much of like your personality, the way you handle comedy. Because it's like the first things you saw, and it leaves these
Yeah.
huge impressions on
But
you.
I would like sit in front of movies and just do all the
Oh, and-
voices,
yeah.
like, you know, oh, Bill, back again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I couldn't put it down.
Right, exactly.
Have you got anything new?
Hurry! Hurry up!
Like,
yeah.
exactly. Or
Because
like,
you want to play all these. You want to play all these.
my
people.
sister and I used to watch The Never Ending Story.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
would put a blanket out and we would literally act out the whole thing like,
Oh,
no,
oh yeah.
not too much. We still got a long way to go.
I would get.
Call my name. Call my name.
I would get. I mean, it's like it goes throughout your whole life. Like as a kid, I'm on the couch in a full lion position, and I've got my 2 hands, and I'm like, "Long live the king!"
It's like,
And then I'm like 25, and I've watched
it's a
There Will Be
sickness.
Blood for the
We-
3rd time.
I mean, we
You're
came.
doing it
I already
to
told you
Taylor's.
we're damaged. So
Yeah, we are, and this is how.
you have to be a little kind of.
It's like that thing they used to say about Peter Sellers, where you're like, who is the real Peter Sellers? Was there a man there, or did he just fill himself with impressions and personalities and accents all day? And it's like sometimes you don't know.
There is a man in there somewhere.
There's a nice little boy in here. I hope so. What shows are coming up this season on Broadway?
Oh,
What can we add to
that's
the
easy.
show?
Well, we do a little Sunset, not to give anything away,
That's
but
true.
we could do more.
We could do more stuff.
Tammy Faye, hello.
Tammy Faye's on its way.
Old friends, hello.
Old friends, hello. Oh, right. I mean, Once Upon a Mattress has been getting kicked down
so
a
like,
lot.
if we keep running, if you guys keep buying tickets
Yeah,
through
seriously.
TDF, and we keep running, like Once Upon a Mattress, hello, Sun Foster. Old friends, give me a
Right,
break.
yeah, I forgot that was even happening. Tammy Faye,
Tammy
I mean,
Faye, goodbye.
there's
Like,
gotta be
yes.
whatever, the Queen of Versailles, if it comes over, or how, depending on that thing.
Chenoweth return.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you never know what's
Death Becomes Her.
Death Becomes Her. I mean, Patty LuPone's about to show up with Mia Farrow in a play.
What are we, you guys?
You
I
know?
mean, next question. That
If we're
there's
still
too
here
many.
in the spring, there's going to be a really weird Glengarry Glen Ross parody going on because of Bill Burr. There's always
the
room
list
for
is
it to get
endless.
at it.
The
It's
list
cool.
is endless.
That's the cool thing about doing a review. Ooh, okay. What's the best deal you ever got at the TKTS booth? So when my dad and I would sometimes come into New York,
Yeah.
like every now and then, we would go to the TKTS booth, and I don't know if this is the best deal, but this is definitely the best thing I ever got. It was a play called La Bête. It was in maybe in the 2010s, and
Okay.
I knew nothing about it, but it was like one of the only things that we could get seats that were like together for. And then I roll up to this theater, and it's David Hyde Pierce, Joanna Lumley, and Mark Rylance, and a Tony Award, one of his many Tony Award winning things. And as soon as he arrived, all in verse, this whole show. And when he arrived, he did, I think, like a half-hour monologue straight. And in that monologue, he used the bathroom. He spoke in rhyme only. Like he continues to speak. He goes into the,
Oh
you
my
see him in the
God.
privy, and then he comes out, and then he does his final rhyme and then locks himself in a crate. And you're just like, this is what's possible. So
Oh
to
my
me, that's
gosh.
probably the best thing that from
Wow.
TKTS I got.
Okay, I don't know if this is specifically TKTS, but again, aging myself. When I was a student at NYU, at that time they had $20 student tickets to see Chicago.
God.
So I would go to see Chicago like once a week.
Of course, yeah.
And every single and like the rush tickets would be like in the 4th row or something.
Yeah, right.
And like as soon as that bum, like total tears.
Yeah,
I also used to live in the East Village and they had $15 or $10 to go see Stomp.
Oh my
So I think I saw Stomp 12 times.
Oh my God, come on.
And then I do remember a TKTS moment where my mom and I saw The Life from the front row.
Sam Harris, Lilius, Chuck Cooper, all that stuff. I can't even imagine.
Major, like underrated shit. Like,
Yeah, no, I remember.
Where's the revival?
Seriously, what happened, Encores?
But like first row. And I remember my mom was like, "You have those shoes." And I was like, and then she goes, "You're wearing those shoes." The hooker shoes. Guys, I told you.
It's like, what are you going to do?
We're damaged.
Parents in the theater. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, Jenny Lee Stern. You play so many stars.
Yeah.
Which star should play you in a Broadway musical about your
my life? The rest is still unwritten.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need. Okay, well, my secret dream, because I want to keep like the trauma going.
Yeah.
Like for my daughters to play me at various ages. Is that a thing, right? Like,
goodbye, Share Show.
Hello.
Jenny Lee Stern.
Or get the whole family employed on the payroll.
100%.
I would love that. And then Patty would play my mom. Because let me tell you, I say a line as Patty LuPone in the show. That is a sentence that she actually said to me in the dressing room at 54 Below when I introduced myself for the first time. And before I recognized her as Patty LuPone, I thought she was my mom for like a split second because they have like the same haircut. She was blonde then. Yeah. And I was like, why is my mom in the Patty LuPone? Oh, hello. And so I would like Patty LuPone to really dig into the character of Sharon Stern, the icon, the legend. Yes, and then I would like my daughters to
play like
the little over like 1, 2, 3 versions growing up.
That's so cool.
Is that cool?
That's really cool.
Good answer.
Oh my God, yeah, you stole mine. I was like, maybe it'd be
you want Patty LuPone to play your mom?
No, I love that idea of like the 3 versions. I mean, I don't know what poor soul would have to play young me. But I mean, like, look, if Alex Brightman wants it, if he thinks that he can handle it, he can have the rights to my life. And then, like, I would hope that it would be like, either like Mandy Patinkin or like Max Casella or one of those guys, like around a terrible little fireplace, being like,
let me tell you about
how it all went.
Like a flash.
Like in Waiting for Guffman when he's like, yeah, this is how it all went.
Or like A Christmas Story.
Yes, and then it would just be like, it would have to be like almost a vaudevillian musical. That's the only way to handle that. And I don't even, I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus would probably play my mom.
Ooh.
I think that would be
good one.
I don't know about my dad, but.
That's like, if I could do something with Julia Louis-Dreyfus where we play like, I don't know.
I mean, the funniest thing would be.
Are we mom and daughter?
Yeah. I mean, come on. You two are cut from the exact same.
I know this is like not the question.
I know, now you've got it.
I just want to like put this out into the universe. My celebrity dream casting is me in a play with Katie Seagal as my mom and John Goodman as my dad. I'm just letting that fly.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Dream.
Oh my God. That would be incredible.
Thank you, TDF.
Thank you, TDF. I'm so sorry. I thought you guys had to do with dairy.
Come see
Forbidden Broadway, Merrily
Solo Song.